Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey today. Let me fix this microphone. This is a reading for Virgo, wherever Virgo is in your chart. I hope you're all doing well. So anytime because there comes a moment where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do that reading for that sign, right? Like usually I'm in the middle of doing something else and I'm like, okay, let me just finish up what I'm doing, whatever, and then I'll go do the reading for that sign. And then anything that happens within that space of time between me making that decision and then sitting here to do the reading, I blame on you guys. Like whoever I'm doing the reading for. And I shit you not, I was doing some work. I have an order that I need to get done today so that I can ship it out tomorrow. And because today is Sunday the 5th, which tomorrow is an Aries full moon. So just be aware of that, wherever Aries is for you. Where would that be for you? Your 8th house, if you're a Virgo rising. So anyway, I shit you not. I'm sitting there working on my thing, and I drop one end of it. It's a chain. I drop one end of it, and literally the whole thing turns into a knot. And I was just holding it. I wish I would have left it the way that it was so I could show you. First of all, that has never happened before like that. And I'm just literally sitting there with this thing in my hands, like, what the hell just happened? I was getting so frustrated. I was like, maybe I just leave it. I'll leave it. I'll come do Virgo's reading, and then I'll come back to it. I have you and Libra left. But then I was like, no, just figure it out now. And literally, I did. It probably took me, it felt like forever. It was probably 5 minutes, but still, that's a long time to be untying a knot, in chain. So anyway, I'm like, I wonder if there's something happening for Virgo where it's because I said, I was at the end of that part that I was working on, my stopping point or whatever. I also like to, take an ADHD sidebar here. I bought these mats. They're just desktop, leather, whatever mats, because I hate the color of this table. It's really shiny too, and I hate that. I also just do not really like these mats, so I think I'm going to bring back the other board that I was using before. And just call it a day. And then I can return. I got this one and I got a green one, but I feel like the green one, it just doesn't I don't know how it looks on the screen right now, but it's just like a dark green, olive green, whatever. And it was coming through so dark on the camera, or at least anytime I looked at the background of the thumbnail that I have for these videos is this mat, and it was so dark and I hated that. So anyway, thanks for letting me share all of my whatever, trials and tribulations over here. But going back to the knot thing, like I wonder if there's, you're getting to a point of like almost being complete with something, even if like you're still in the middle of whatever, right? Because I am, like, I still have a little bit more work to do, but like I said, right, I was at the end of this one like section, so that's why I was like, okay, I'll take a break here and I'll go do Virgo's reading. So even if like you are at like a stopping point, or at least, right, it's like, you have a checklist of stuff and you're like, okay, boom, I have this done, I can start focusing on the next thing or whatever. And then it's like a huge ass knot happens, and like there were knots on top of knots on top of knots. I seriously have no idea how this happened. So again, like maybe you are just experiencing that. We have the Queen of Wands kind of in, sideways. Also, I don't shuffle reversals into my decks. I think that's kind of like a OCD thing. Like I cannot handle cards going opposite directions. But if they come out, see, and I'm even holding this deck upside down. If they come out in the reverse, we keep them that way. Or if they come out sideways, we also keep them that way. I am going to keep these cards though, because it did finally occur to me that I probably had the deck upside down, the whole deck. And I mean, they came out sideways anyway. So yeah, we'll keep them. And interesting that they came out sideways, like going in opposite directions, which is interesting. And I'll explain my little theory on that. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, hopefully that makes sense. And also, I had the thought to like ask you guys, what are you eating for lunch these days? Because I need to go grocery shopping and I need lunch ideas. It's interesting how let's do this type of number, because it is kind of interesting how the 5 of Cups literally came out and like fell on top of, like right in the middle of these two. So obviously I don't want to like leave it there, but let me make sure. Just kind of bring these down a little bit. Should we like zoom in a little? Like, hang on. Okay, I did zoom in a little bit, and hopefully I don't completely forget that and like somehow, I don't know, mess that up. I don't know. I think too, like just the 5 of Cups being, well, did I even say the Queen of Wands sideways, the Ace of Pentacles sideways, and the 5 of Cups. Like I said, it was kind of like almost in the seam. So I do actually feel like you guys have been experiencing those knots. And maybe like knots is a good way to describe that. Like if you need a descriptor type of word, or just like, vocabulary to help understand or explain something that's going on. I know for me, literally like having the right vocabulary, like when somebody says the right word or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that is what it is, that helps. I literally just bought this feelings wheel too. Kind of surprised that my therapist didn't have a feelings wheel. I'm like, how do you not have a feelings wheel? I bought that after I like completed my therapy, my therapy. Obviously like more so for me so that I can have the vocabulary, right? So anyway, I mean that might even be a good thing to have. I'm sure that you can print something off like online, obviously, for free, versus buying like a $10, little feelings wheel. I think it's wood. On the one side, it says things I can control, things that I can't. It comes with this cute little stand too, you know. And it came with like a couple stickers. But anyway, so yeah. Also, I didn't even put that together. I wonder if that is intentional or not. Because I have this like, these little flags, you know, this little thing of chakra flags, you know, like all the chakra colors. And I'm noticing on here that this is also all the colors of chakra. So, you know, green is a heart, and that represents happy. And there's all of these, you know, emotions that are, or, you know, words that are associated with happiness. Would this be like indigo, which would be crown, surprise, and then all of the other descriptive words, fear, that would be more third eye, anxious, insecure, submissive, inferior, inadequate. Anger would be root with a red, you know. Disgust is orange, which would be sacral. Sad would be solar plexus, which would be yellow. And so I'm just kind of wondering, right? Like, obviously, when we feel happy, that is more of like a heart emotion, right? And even surprise, it's like, you know, your mind being blown, right? Like, that's kind of like the descriptor. Even like with third eye, because that's intuition, right? And like vision, and even, you know, like fear can be related to that in the sense of, I think a large part of why we stop trusting or listening to our intuition is out of fear. I also feel like that's a collective, like propaganda thing, you know, like, because truly, if more people did listen to their intuition, a lot of us would be in, oh my God. Oh, there's a big ass jumping spider. Oh my God, my heart just literally stopped. Bro, I swear to F. Okay. It's like right in front of my face. So part of me is like, do I move this whole operation? I just don't want it to jump over here. Also, the last time I saw it was in the living room. So how did it even get into this room so fast? And how did that even happen? It's like literally following me around. Okay. Bro, hold on. Okay. I literally just stood here in a freeze response because I'm like, what do? I do not want to kill it. I'm not going to. But I also just don't want it that effing close to me either. I'm trying to like work through my fear with spiders, and the only spider I am willing to do that with is a jumping spider, which is what this is. But any other spider, I'm like, I've already sent memos out to the spider kingdom and was like, any other spider that rolls up in this house that goes past this point or comes to this close proximity to me, I will kill it. Otherwise, I will try to like get it outside, but I'm sorry. I wish I could show you, but I feel like if I turn the camera, you probably wouldn't be able to see it. Oh my God, it's climbing up this plant. Oh my God. Should I just stop this video until you guys don't need to like listen to me freaking out? Hold on. Okay. I will tell you guys the truth. I am not sure that I am going to be able to do this. And by this, I mean my fear of, which is actually really interesting that we were literally talking about fear. And I'm sitting here being like, I don't know if I can do this. How am I feeling? Am I feeling scared? Like, I'm not even sure. I guess I am feeling scared. Maybe a little anxious. Overwhelmed for sure. Not terrified or worried. But then it's like, why am I so afraid of literally this little ass spider? You know? Like, that's conditioning. That's, oh my God, spiders are scary. And that's just what I've been made to believe my whole life. Right? So interesting. Anyway, yeah, chakra colors. So even, there could just be something, and sorry for that, whatever the hell that was. At least it's like it's moved that way and far enough away, and I can't see it right now, but I at least know what direction it went in. Oh my God. It's probably like, ooh, a new territory, because I've only ever seen it in my living room, and it was far enough away and I could see it where I was like, okay, we can cohabitate, but it's never been this close. Like, here, let me pan this. There's a plant up here. It was literally back here. Like, that is, I don't know, a foot from my face. Bro, unacceptable. Okay. Anyway, do we need a light? That's not really helpful, is it? Okay, well. Let's move this down. Sorry. Okay. We haven't even started talking about these cards, and literally it's been 17 minutes. So if you're still here, you're a real one. Thank you. So let's start talking about these cards instead of like blabbering on about whatever the hell I was talking about. Queen of Wands, one way, Ace of Pentacles, the other way. It's like this clash happening. At least that's like how it feels. And it feels that way because they're going in opposite directions. Here's my theory that I was talking about. When cards come out this way, where the top of the card is on the left-hand side, I see that as it working its way upright. Like if it were going clockwise. Okay, sorry, I just zoomed out again. Don't ask me why. So if we're going clockwise, right? If the top of the card is on the left side, I see it as working its way to the upright. On the other side of things, if the top of the card is on the right side, I see it working its way into reverse. So we have the Queen of Wands working its way to upright, and we have the Ace of Pentacles that is working its way reverse. And then, of course, the Five of Cups came out upright. This really feels like your confidence, your sense of self, even to like your security. But it's very personal. And that could also even be where those knots are coming from, even if it's like, digestion or headaches or anything along those lines, right? Like it doesn't necessarily have to be like, for me, it was, my work, right? It could be for you too. It could definitely be your work. I mean, we do have pentacles out here. But also it could be, again, like a physical thing. And it also could be because you are taking care of yourself differently, or even trying to approach that differently, whether it's your confidence, your expression, your, again, like I said, your worth, which I think is kind of in there with the confidence thing, your security, your self security. We have the South Node in Virgo right now. Thank you. And I believe Saturn and Neptune are making their way back to Pisces, which would be, of course, like the opposite sign to you. So it's, and because they're in retrograde, right? So there's something that's going to be coming up here that, it is actually tying loose ends, which is interesting. Even speaking of the knot thing, it could be if there was a knot that was left, or not addressed in the recent past, then there's going to be something coming up for you in that realm where the energy is available for you to address that. And a lot of us, especially if they're, big emotions or big shifts, or, we perceive them as being big, or even just difficult or super uncomfortable, or, anything like that, we have a tendency to try to like stick a Band-Aid on it, or do something to like, relieve the discomfort. But we kind of convince ourselves that, oh, we figured it out. We got through it. We healed that thing. But if you did, it wouldn't be coming back around in knots, Or it also could be like, short, you healed one aspect of it, but now it like an onion, right? Like you might have healed one layer of it, but there's another layer that needs to be addressed, and possibly another layer under that, I also think that's definitely something that becomes obvious in therapy, is that, man, I thought I worked through this. Like, I mean, I know when I was doing the EMDR therapy, which that's part of the reason why I took a break. If you're new here, you probably don't really know what I'm talking about, but back in July, that's when I posted the last readings on this channel, and I said I was taking a break because, in part, I was in therapy and I was going through a lot of big, uncomfortable emotions and grief, and also even just being like, what am I doing with my life? Which I have not answered that question yet. Still pondering that one. But wait, let me check where we should name this thing too, right? Or no? Yeah, we should. I'm terrible at naming things, which you'll see by the title of this. I'll probably just name it come watch this hot mess of a reading. Oh, I don't know where. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, we're good. Yeah. So, oh, yeah, sorry. So, I took that break. Oh. Man. Also, I wonder if you do have also a lot of distractions. A lot of squirrels. Not necessarily literally, but the amount of times that my attention has been deflected. Also, during that time that I took a break from tarot readings and YouTube, I also took a break from social media. And it's crazy how much I unconsciously clicked on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook throughout my day. Like I would just immediately, because it was like my brain would register that I was bored or, that I wanted to be like stimulated or whatever, entertained, distracted. Hello. And I would just like automatically click. It literally took a week for me to break that habit of just clicking on TikTok for sure. And then like scrolling to the next, because I have those apps like on different screens on my phone or whatever, and then just scrolling over to the next screen to click on Instagram. Like it took me a week to get out of that habit. But like a couple weeks ago, I started to get back on there, and now I want to get back off because I'm just like, you know what? Anyway, I'm sorry. See, like we keep fucking, oh my God, we're still even talking about the Queen of Wands. So let's lock in, okay? I also just have to trust, because part of me wants to start like judging myself for going off on these like tangents, right? And I have to remind myself to just trust that truly whatever is coming through is part of the message, right? Like I'm saying it for whatever reason because it needs to be said, and also even like I was saying with intuition, right? Because like fear and judgment and just self-punishment and all this, shit that it's not perfect, like I'm talking about myself too much, like all of that stuff like starts to come through, which starts muddying up my intuition. Like that's what I was kind of talking about with the fear thing, because if a lot more of us, what is this now? Is this just a gnat? Okay, bro, did you even see that? I'm not surprised that there's a gnat in here. I mean, I have like plants everywhere, although I think I did figure out the gnat. See? There we go again. Do you have ADHD? Also, too, that could be like why there could even be a sense of just not getting a lot of stuff done, and that could even be creating fear or doubt or anxiety within you too, because it's like feeling not necessarily, well, yeah, I mean, maybe just feeling powerless to it or just out of control in some aspect. However, though, I want to just like invite you to instead of judging yourself, instead of like being in that cycle of judgment and punishment and whatever, right? To where it's just like fuck it, because I feel like that even gets to be overwhelming. And then that just kind of perpetuates the cycle of just not doing or not returning to the thing, because now you're like, I was in the middle of this and then I ADHD'd like over here, and now I'm judging myself because I didn't finish that. And instead of just coming back to it, you just kind of like get further and further away from it, or even just create a shame cycle around even just the thing that hasn't been finished. Instead, I'm going to invite you to, I know there's literally a bird right outside of the window. This is what I mean. Right? Like, this is what I mean. So we're going to allow the distraction to happen. We're going to allow ourselves to ADHD in whatever direction. But we're also going to allow ourselves to come back here. And if this reading ends up being an hour long, and if you end up staying an hour, or even just watching it in sections, because ADHD, right? No doubt you'll be, pulled in some other direction. But I mean, you can also just put AirPods in or whatever and just, listen to it in the background while you're being pulled in multiple different directions. But anyway, I know we're still talking about this Queen of Wands. And so, this wand is going right up her spine here. Even like with her arms being out like this, it's almost like giving me this feeling of, for one, what is the saying? I keep wanting to say, is that all you got? But there's a, not like in a challenging way, but just in a sense of, yeah, I mean, like I've had all of these roadblocks. I've had all these distractions. I've literally bounced all over the place, but I'm still here. I'm still returning back, to the thing. And, even that saying about what's the fastest way to eat an elephant, one bite at a time. And I'm always like, why would you eat an elephant? Like, just let the elephants live their lives, But I think it's just obviously that an elephant is like a physical representation of something fucking huge, right? Because truly, how could you actually? But it's about taking one step at a time, right? Like literally one bite at a time, right? And two, that it's not all going to be finished in one sitting. Like you would have to come back to it. So, that's what it is. Go ahead and take your best shot. There's a song by Sugarland called Get Back Up. Bro, listen to that song. But the first line in it was, go ahead and take your best shot. Let it rip. Give it all you got. Hang on. Go ahead and take your best shot. Let it rip. Give it all you got. Well, that's all that I remember. So that's clearly the only part that is relevant to this message. But that's one of my favorite songs by them. My second favorite is Settling, but without the G. Listen to that next. That's my second favorite song by them. But that's how like this feels. And even the fact that the Queen of Wands is on her side right now, it is giving this feeling of like feeling either let down or feeling put down, or feeling like you quote unquote fell off the horse, fell off the wagon, like whatever it is, right? Because that whole song, literally the name of the song is Get Back Up, right? It's literally talking about I may be down on the floor now, which is probably a verse in that in some capacity. But the point is that she gets back up every single time. And that's how, like I was saying with her, their arms out like that, it's just kind of like, what else do you got? And it's not, it's like, knock on wood, it's not a challenge for the universe. It's almost like a thing of telling yourself, how many times have I been knocked down? And I've gotten up every single time. Like you cannot keep me down. That's very resilient and persevering, that's very even like strength card, even though we don't have the strength card out here on the table. And like I said, it is working its way into upright. So if you have felt down, if you have felt insecure, if you have felt like your confidence has wavered a little bit, regardless of why that is, whether it's outside influences making you feel that way or just circumstances in general, right? It's like one thing after the other, popping up, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. Like the rug keeps getting pulled out from under me. Or again, my little thing about knots, right? Just how things somehow end up in a knot, and you're like, how was this even possible? But rest assured, it is working its way into upright. So it's still on its side though. So it's totally fine to allow yourself rest and compassion and grace. And maybe right now too isn't a time to be taking action towards anything, because wands are all about action, the motivation behind the actions that we take also. So it could also be like if you were trying to force something, like if you're trying to make something happen, or if you're trying to even force yourself to do something, that could be the reason why things are coming back in knots, or they're being manifested in even just like distorted ways where you're like, what? Right? It could be, again, because you're trying to take action towards or to force something before either you're ready or the thing is, even like the energy is available for it. I think that's also too like where intuition comes in. Like, is it intuition or is it fear that is driving you? Is it FOMO? Right? Like, is it because also I think that like intuition takes a lot of trust. And maybe it's, like the trust kind of comes like in hindsight, like you recognize that trust in hindsight. But I do think that there's a lot of trust. And, when we are in fear, there is an absence of trust. So maybe loosen your grip a little bit on whatever it is, on yourself, on your expectations. Again, allow yourself rest. Maybe decide to not take the action towards the thing, especially if you are deciding to take that action out of fear. We have the Ace of Pentacles over here. We're finally moving on to that. Also, I feel like we're finally locked in here too. So that's even further, the point of what I was saying about letting your attention be distracted, without judgment, without anger or disgust or whatever, towards yourself, without, attaching any type of negative emotion to that. Just allow it to happen, and also allow yourself to come back to the thing too. And too, because I started getting really anxious about how long this video is being, and I don't care. But I'm like, oh my God, like people aren't going to want to sit here through like this whole, thing if it's like an hour long. I can't control that. And that's also me judging myself. And that's also me not trusting you, right? So let's all just take a deep breath. Because now that I said that out loud, I feel tremendously better. So, the Ace of Pentacles. Whatever this whatever this Queen of Wands is, although there is this one wand going up her spine, which we could call the Ace of Wands, of course, because once we get to the court cards, right, they are working with the Ace of Wands. to get to a point of mastering. The queens for me are when we embody the energy of the suit ourselves. We learn to work with it. We learn to give it to ourselves. We learn to manifest it before we can share it with other people or be an authority or like an expert in it, right? Like we're learning to master the suit. But like how do you know how the magic of an element works without experimenting with it yourself or on yourself, safely, right? And then, of course, when we get to the king is when we have mastered it and we, can be an authority or an expert. People start to look at us as role models or, just authorities in that and maybe ask us for guidance or whatever, right? So again, this is just a very personal journey at this point where it's not necessarily involving like other people. So with the Ace of Pentacles coming out in this direction, the thing that could be, having this Queen of Pentacles on its side is that, maybe there's just something that with work or health or time, money in some capacity, money in general, Pentacles is about our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it, which of course can be, work or however you get your income or money. Also your energy, like where are you investing your time and your energy? Your physical health and your body, anything tangible, anything that you can touch, anything monetary, anything that you place worth and value on. And aces are brand new, although we have this ace that, the seed has already been planted. There are roots already growing and it's already sprouted. Right? And it's like shedding its little like husk or its little seed thing, whatever, whatever that's called. Right? So it is like something new, but it's already too like something that has, like the seed has already been planted and you have already been focusing your time, your energy, your resources, which would be money. Even like resources in the sense of your expertise or like your knowledge, your like I'm thinking of water even, right? Because and soil. Even like, a nursery pot. Obviously I'm using these as like analogies, right? Because, whatever those resources would represent in your life, time and energy could be water and soil, right? Because you also like, you have to show up in order to water this thing. You had to like choose a nursery pot or what, this is just a cube that wasn't too large to where the soil is going to stay wet for too long and rot out the seed, right? So it's like these little things have been taken into account. You've already considered a lot of these things. There's, obviously what you have been manifesting, there is some actuality with that. But with this being on its side and working its way into reverse here, granted, it doesn't have to go that way, right? I mean, we have free will. Everything can change with one decision, right? Which is also a line in that song, Settle In. She says she changed her mind and she changed her life. So it doesn't have to, right? It's also, I mean, these could teeter any which way. Or, tarot is all about cycles too. It's just a cycle. It's a circle, So with this being on its side, heading, like in this direction, the thing that you have manifested, maybe there's been a stall or a delay in that, or even stunted growth. Maybe conditions changed in some aspect. Or maybe you're worried about that. Again, even going back to the fear thing. And I say that because we have the 5 of Cups here. It's like one of those things too of like when you do start to get the thing or the things that you want, or when you start to feel a certain way that you have been putting a lot of time and attention into, changing again, even I think I was talking about it, but oh my God, at some point, if you have been, working on changing a perspective, changing the way that you approach things, even changing, like if you have been looking for a new job, if you have been developing your skills, if you have changed positions at work, or, are applying to change positions at work, something, right? And it's like you've been putting in the effort, the time, the energy, physically showing up to the thing. And if for some reason there's been a delay or a rejection in some capacity, it's almost kind of like it just kind of like took you off guard, or just kind of threw you off a little bit. And especially if this has been a theme that has happened a couple times. And I only say that because there's 3 cups. That's a thing with the 5 of Cups, right? There's always 3 cups that are overturned. The liquid has been, spilled out. And that tends to be the thing that we focus on. We tend to focus on what hasn't worked out because it fits our narrative. It fits our story. I don't deserve it. I'm not ready for it. This always happens to me. This is my life. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever your story is. And too, like whatever your nervous system is tuned to, like your vagal nerve, right? Because the 5 of Cups is a card of like depression, grief, sadness. The 3 of Cups in tarot is a card of celebration and community, networking, friends. The 2 of Cups is about shared values. It's sometimes like a relationship card, connections. What I say? Shared values. Because obviously we start with the Ace of Cups, right? And when we get to the 2 of Cups, there's usually 2 people involved, right? But both of them come in with their own Ace of Cups, their own full cups. And it's like, you guys get each other. That's where the shared values thing comes into play, right? There's a reciprocity there. You're not overly giving and they're not overly taking because they have their own full cup. So, right, like you guys can share, even to like the importance of having a full cup. And then again, right, the 3 of Cups is usually a celebration card, support from others. So all of that is to say, right, that in the 5 of Cups, 3 cups is overturned, 2 cups is always still full. And the current or the person in the 5 of Cups is always focused on what has not worked out. So, I mean, it could involve multiple people. It could involve community. It could involve not feeling supported in whatever aspect, monetarily, your job, just not having the right resources, things breaking down, whatever. And it's like that becomes your focus. Whereas like the message with the Five of Cups is that all is not lost. There are still 2 cups left. And those are like the best out of, and that's the other thing too, right? Because, we think of like, the best 3 out of 5, right? Because that would mean that you've won the majority. So I think that's too like why there's always this letdown that happens here when the 3 cups is overturned, because it kind of feels like you're out of options, or it's like that the straw that broke the camel's back. But no, like these 3 cups, just you tried them, you didn't like them. It wasn't the right energy for you. It wasn't the right opportunity. It wasn't the right relationship. It wasn't the right connection. And then, there's some anxiety and fear that comes around with, oh my God, I only have 2 left. Well, those could be like the best 2. You could find exactly what you're looking for in there, right? But we just, again, like fear, anxiety, insecurity, rejection, feeling humiliated. I'm literally just reading off of this feelings wheel over here. Worried, feeling inadequate or inferior. Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. And if you are still here, thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, if this is the reading that gets you to do it, then I think that's amazing. But I would absolutely love it if you subscribed to the channel. It helps me grow. It helps more people see these wild, crazy messages. Like it helps YouTube push these videos out, and, also to, comment, like the video, share it, save it. Those are all free ways to help support me and the channel. And of course, I greatly appreciate that. We have the 3 of Wands and the Father of Pentacles behind. Ooh, the 2 of Wands behind that. Let's just put it right here. Okay, actually, let's put this over here. I forgot that we had zoomed out. And also, like, I hope that you can see these cards okay. Like, I also need to figure that out. Hang on, because these dogs are barking. And I just saw that little Spidey at least made its way, like, onto the other side of the window. It's, like, on my window screen. But, like, obviously my window is closed. So, anyway, it made itself out, or yeah, it made its way outside. So, that's exciting for it. We have the 3 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. I love this depiction of the 3 of Wands, actually, because it's like this little portal. I feel like through this whole process, and also too, even just shifting your narrative, away from, like, instead of focusing on these 3 cups that have been overturned here, instead of focusing on that and focusing on the 2 of Cups at the top, that there's still things to be excited for. There's still opportunities to be had. There's still the perfect solution, resolution, opportunity, whatever, is still available to you. And also, like, why would you want something that's not for you anyway, just to end up in a miserable situation, whatever it is, I know that is really difficult to see that perspective when you are wanting change and like you can feel the ball rolling, but it's just not rolling into the right thing. I don't know. I don't know where that analogy was going, but and it's just like you just want to be settled, right? Like you just want to be set up in the next thing, and you want that next thing to finally manifest. But it's like don't say yes to the wrong thing just because you are fearful that there's not going to be the best thing, if that makes sense, right? Like don't say yes to something that is clearly a no, again, out of fear. Trust your yes and trust your intuition too. Also, I love how, like, in the Five of Cups, and hopefully you can see this, and the Three of Wands, we have the universe, or, just like stars and galaxy, vibes back there, which is to me a lot of throat, third eye, crown. Which would be, like speaking your no, speaking your yes, third eye, again, intuition, forward vision, crown being higher consciousness and downloads. But the Three of Wands is about starting to take action towards a thing. So it's interesting over here, right, with this Queen of Wands, we were talking about with her being on her side, like maybe it's not the right time. And two, maybe you need to like work your way through this grief here too. And even just working through it in the sense of allowing yourself to accept it for what it is, accept it as grief, accept that you were disappointed or let down, accept that rejection fucking hurts. Feeling humiliated in whatever sense, sucks. Allowing yourself to realize, man, like I have put myself out there, I've taken myself out of my comfort zone, and maybe I have experienced rejection or disappointment or whatever, and maybe that has made me feel a little insecure, and that has kind of taken a hit against my confidence. However, I am that bitch, right? Like there are always more opportunities. And two, again, like reestablishing that trust with yourself, the universe, God, source, divine, whoever it is, where you're like, I know that they are not going to, I'm not going to, and neither are they going to put me into a situation that is not for me. So if I am being rejected, if I'm feeling a no, I have to trust that the perfect yes is going to show up. And I feel like we know that because the Three of Wands is here. And you will know when that opportunity arises too. True, this is literally an open door. You will know when that opportunity presents itself. And we have the King of Pentacles. So we go from the Ace of Pentacles sideways, and that's what I was talking about. This doesn't have to go in the reverse. It can if you say yes to the wrong thing that your intuition is like, girl, what are you doing? The King of Pentacles, again, is the highest expression of the suit. That is the full manifestation of Pentacles. It's success, leadership, authority, having your cake and eating it too. It's also the manifestation of waiting for the right opportunity. We have the Two of Wands even after that. Planning for the future. Even look how these two sticks are rubbing together. There's a spark here, right? Like it just, the Eight of Wands behind that, the Queen of Pentacles. Like, all of this, right? Like the actual reading, kind of being like, and that might be how you're feeling now. But truly, good things are coming. The right door, not doors, the right door will open for you. It will be very much in alignment with you. And it'll even have this, you excited for the future. Your plans could change. What you thought you wanted could change. What you think is possible could change because of whatever this King of Pentacles is. It's more money than you thought it was going to be. Or you were like, no, I am actually worth an additional 10, 15, 20,000 a year, whatever, right? And you found a position that pays you that amount of money. And then you're like, holy shit, I didn't realize actually how much this would change things for me. And again, plans change. This could happen very fast. It could also just happen out of the blue. So keep your receptors open, right? Just don't allow yourself to think small. And also to like all of this like self-focus on just, caring for yourself and feeling a certain way, especially if it's negative, it is kind of like cutting off like other opportunities from coming in. So just allow your energetic feelers to be open, because it truly could just literally happen out of the blue. Like boom, falls into your lap even. Okay, I'm officially leaving it there. I think this has been longer than an hour. Thank you so much for going on this journey. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.